So what's your role at Whole Foods now? You've built this thing. You have a lot of passion about the company. You have a lot of passion in telling this new story about conscious capitalism. What's your role now as sort of the leader of Whole Foods? You've got this thing running, and it's a terrific place.
Well, thank you. It's an interesting question because, in truth, my role has continued to evolve over time, and I always ask, what's the unique value that I can create for the company? What can I do in my role with my talents and my strengths that can best serve the company the best? And a big part of my job remains strategic and thinking about the business, particularly thinking about the future of the business, how the business needs to evolve, and what needs to change in order for it to evolve. So I am a creative individual, and I do come up with lots of creative ideas that help evolve the company forward. So that's a big part of my job. Also, I am the only co-founder left, and I have a figurehead role in a sense that it's particularly valuable for me to travel around to the stores and interact with the team members and the suppliers I might meet and the customers I meet, because they get really excited to meet me. It's like I'm the father, and so I found that to be very good for morale, and it's stimulating to me to interact. If you sit in your office in Austin, you're in an ivory tower. When you get around and travel and you see the stores, and interact with the team members in the company and the customers and the suppliers and occasionally investors as well, that stimulates my own thinking and proves to be valuable for the overall morale of the organization. So that's a big part of what I do. I also talk to investors. I talk to all the stakeholders. I mean,
I was very lucky to go to Whole Foods with you while you've been here and to see that process. And what stood out for me was not only did the team members really happy to see you, but there was a very human interaction. It wasn't the CEO and co-founder who's on some different plane than I am. It was seeing you as a team member that cared about them. Is that the normal way, in your experience, most businesses and most CEOs work?
I don't know. I don't know how most CEOs interact. I only know how I interact, and I'm not want to pass judgment on other CEOs. I just try to be authentic. I just try to show up and be who I am, and that sometimes frustrates people because they have an idea in their minds of how a CEO should be.
Right.
And although they themselves have never been a CEO, they're quick to lecture me on how a CEO should be. I always find that rather amusing. It's not so much the team members do it, but I do hear it occasionally that he's not acting the way a CEO should act. And I don't know how a CEO is supposed to act. I only know who I am. And I think it's important to be as transparent and as authentic as I can be whenever I'm in any interaction. I do think that's, for most people, do find that refreshing, even if they have some judgments about it. So probably what you witnessed when we were touring around is the team members aren't afraid of me.
Right.
And I try to connect on a heart level with them. I think that the whole emotion of love is greatly underestimated and somewhat feared in corporate America based on what I've seen. I do think that's an incredibly important virtue. And so I do try to interact from my heart and connect with people. And the team members sense that I care about them, because I do.